Men, there are moments in your life that will test not just your body, but your soul. One of those moments is when a woman looks into your eyes and with all the vulnerability in the world, tells you to release inside of her. For some, it's just passion. For others, it's a decision that changes the course of your life forever. This is not just about intimacy. This is about trust, consequence, and the unseen weight of her words. When she says this, she's not just inviting your body. She's inviting your future into her hands. She's either telling you she sees you as the man she can build a life with, or she's playing with something she doesn't fully understand herself. I know in that moment, your mind is filled with heat, your heart is racing, and every logical thought is clouded by desire. But here's the truth, men, that one decision can lead to joy, or it can lead to years of struggle, pain, and responsibility you never saw coming. If you think this is just about pleasure, you've already lost the game. Because what she's really asking is, are you ready to tie your life to hers, for better or worse? And most men never stop to answer that question. When she tells you to release inside of her, you need to understand something most men never stop to think about. It's not just sex anymore. That moment, that request is an unspoken contract. It's not written on paper. It's not notarized by a lawyer. But it's binding in ways far deeper than anything you can sign in ink. Because in that second, you are agreeing, whether you realize it or not, to tie your life to hers, to carry the weight of every consequence that follows. A child, emotional ties, legal obligations, financial responsibilities. And whether it lasts or not, the bond is there, etched into reality. But here's the problem. Too many men enter that moment thinking like consumers, not investors. They think, it's just heat. It's just a thrill. It's just passion. No, it's a handshake with destiny. And destiny doesn't care if you were the mood or caught up in the moment. Destiny cashes the check you just signed with your body. When she says those words, she is telling you, I am letting you into my most vulnerable space. I am trusting you with something that could create life. That's a sacred trust if it's genuine. But sometimes it's not trust at all. It's recklessness, manipulation, or even a way to bind you to her in a way you can't easily escape. And here's the truth, men. You have to know which one it is. Because the contract doesn't care if you understood it. If she gets pregnant, your life changes. Your money changes. Your freedom changes. Your priorities change. And you can't take it back. This is why real men high-value men. Think ahead. They understand that this request is not just about now, it's about forever. They measure the woman's character, her maturity, her values, her intentions. Because the wrong contract can lock you into a lifetime of regret. The right one can be the foundation of a beautiful family and a meaningful legacy. So before you ever sign that unspoken agreement, ask yourself, is this a woman I could build with? Is this a future I'm willing to step into? If the answer is anything less than an unshakable yes, you walk away. Because a real man doesn't let a moment of pleasure dictate a lifetime of consequence. When a woman tells you to release inside of her, it can mean one of two very different things. And the difference between them is the difference between a blessing and a disaster. On one side, it could be trust. Real, deep trust. She may see you as the man she can build with, the man who will stand by her no matter what, the man she believes will protect, provide, and love without condition. When it's trust, it's coming from a place of emotional safety. She feels secure in your character, your commitment, and your future together. In that moment, she's not thinking about the risk, because to her, you are worth the risk. But then there's the other side, recklessness. And recklessness often wears the mask of passion. It feels just as intense in the moment, but it's empty of foresight. This is when she's not thinking about tomorrow, or the consequences, or the kind of life she wants to live. She's thinking only about the next 60 seconds. And sometimes recklessness isn't innocent. It can be manipulation. There are women who use this moment to gain control over a man, to lock him into her life through a child, or to test his reaction without truly meaning the words. As a man, your role is to see past the heat of the moment and ask yourself, which one is this? Because if it's trust, you're stepping into something sacred. If it's recklessness, you're stepping into a minefield. And here's the challenge. Both trust and recklessness can feel the same in bed. Her voice might be soft, her eyes locked on yours, her words dripping with desire. But that doesn't mean her heart or mind is thinking clearly. Your job is to know her beyond the bedroom, to study her patterns, her decision-making, how she handles stress, responsibility, and conflict. Men, understand this reckless passion can cost you decades of your life. Trust, on the other hand, can build a legacy you'll be proud of. Learn the difference before the moment comes. Because once you step into that space, the consequences are already set in motion. Men, when you release inside a woman, you're not just planting a seed in her body. You're planting a seed in your future. And that seed will grow into something that will either carry your name with honor or drag it through the mud for generations. Legacy isn't just about money or property. It's about what you leave behind when you're gone. It's the values your children inherit. It's the stories they tell about you. It's the foundation you build so they can stand taller than you ever could. But here's the truth most men ignore if you choose the wrong woman, that legacy will be poisoned before it even begins. If she's unstable, selfish, or irresponsible, the child you bring into this world will carry the weight of that dysfunction. And you, as the father, will either spend years trying to fix what could have been avoided, or you'll watch helplessly as your child grows up without the stability they deserve. This is why your decision in that heated moment matters so much. You are not just choosing pleasure. You are choosing the mother of your bloodline. You are deciding what kind of home your children will be raised in. You are shaping their future before they even take their first breath. And legacy doesn't forgive ignorance. It doesn't care if you weren't thinking. Once a child is here, your life's trajectory changes. Your money, your time, your freedom, your dreams, they all shift to make room for that child. That can be the most beautiful thing in the world if it's with the right woman, and the most draining, soul-breaking thing if it's with the wrong one. High-value men understand this. They don't just see the woman in front of them. They see the next 20 years. They see school fees, emotional support, parenting challenges, and the example they'll set as a father. They ask, will this woman honor my name? Will she nurture my children in love and discipline? Will she stand with me when life gets hard? Your legacy is your crown. Protect it. Don't hand it to someone who will tarnish it for a moment of pleasure, because what you leave behind is forever. And your children will either thank you for your wisdom or resent you for your mistake. Boys live for the moment. Men live for the future. One of the clearest marks of manhood is the ability to think beyond right now, to see where your choices will lead and make decisions that protect your tomorrow. Foresight is not about fear. It's about wisdom. It's about recognizing that every action has a ripple effect that stretches far beyond today's pleasure. When a woman tells you to release inside of her, your foresight becomes your greatest weapon. Because in that moment, the boy inside you will want to say yes, but the man inside you must ask, what happens next? Manhood means you can delay gratification. It means you can pause in a moment of intense desire and weigh the consequences, not because you're cold, but because you're responsible. It means you can separate emotion from decision making, even when everything in your body is screaming for you to give in. Understand this foresight is the shield that protects your dreams, your resources, and your legacy. Without it, you're just reacting to life instead of shaping it, and life will punish a man who refuses to think ahead. Foresight says, if I do this, will I still be able to chase my goals? Will I still have freedom to move when opportunity comes? Will I be building or breaking my future? Foresight considers the woman's character, her lifestyle, her values. It asks, will she be a partner in my growth or an anchor pulling me down? And here's the thing most men miss. Foresight isn't just about avoiding mistakes. It's about intentionally setting up a life you'll be proud to live. It's about making sure your relationships, commitments, and responsibilities align with the man you're becoming, not just the man you are today. When you master foresight, you stop being a man who gets caught up in situations. You become the man who creates situations on purpose. You stop gambling with your future in moments of passion. That's manhood, not muscles, not swagger, not how many women you've been with. True manhood is foresight. Because any boy can act on desire, but it takes a man to protect his tomorrow. Men, before you ever say yes to releasing inside of a woman, you need to stop and ask yourself one hard question. Am I truly ready for what could come next? This isn't just about being ready for a baby. This is about being ready for the emotional, mental, and relational weight that comes with that decision. Too many men think readiness is only about money. But the truth is, you can have a full bank account and still be empty inside, unprepared for the storm that's coming. Emotional readiness means you can handle responsibility without resentment. It means you can lead with patience when life gets hard. It means you won't run when the woman you chose is at her most vulnerable, carrying your child, or when sleepless nights and endless stress hit your home. Ask yourself, am I mentally stable enough to be consistent, even when I'm tired or frustrated? Am I mature enough to work through disagreements without walking away? Am I disciplined enough to sacrifice my comfort for someone else's well-being? If the answer is no to any of these, you are not ready. And readiness doesn't magically appear after the fact. You either build it now or you suffer the consequences later. Emotional readiness also means being honest about your intentions with her. If she thinks you're her forever, but you know deep down you're just passing time, then saying yes to her request is not just reckless. It's cruel. You're playing with her emotions and potentially creating a life in a home built on lies. Understand this. A man who is emotionally ready doesn't just think about the woman. He thinks about the child who might come into this world. That child will need stability, love, guidance, and a father who shows up every day. If you can't commit to that, you have no business agreeing to something that could create a life. Real men don't just prepare for pleasure. They prepare for permanence. And if you're not ready for permanence, you must be strong enough to say no, no matter how tempting the moment feels. Because readiness is the difference between building a family and creating a lifelong regret. Men, sometimes the most powerful thing you can do in life is say no. We live in a world that teaches men to prove their worth through how many women they've been with, how easily they can give in to temptation, how quickly they can say yes to pleasure. But let me tell you this, a real man is defined by the moments he says no to what could destroy him. When she looks you in the eyes and tells you to release inside of her, everything in your body might want to say yes. Your pride, your ego, your desire, all of them will scream for you to give in. But your strength is not in giving your body what it wants. Your strength is in protecting your future, your legacy, and your peace. Saying no is not weakness. It's not fear. It's control. It's leadership over your own life. Boys are led by desire. Men lead their desires. The power of saying no is the power to protect yourself from situations you are not ready for, from people who do not have your best interests at heart, from commitments you are not prepared to honor. It is the power to choose purpose over impulse, wisdom over heat, and your future over the fleeting rush of a moment. Sometimes that no will be the reason you avoid years of financial strain, emotional heartbreak, or being tied to someone who was never meant to walk with you long term. And here's the truth. The people who will judge you for saying no are not the ones who will help you carry the weight if your life becomes heavy because you said yes. Men, hear me. You are allowed to value yourself enough to walk away from what could cost you everything. You are allowed to set boundaries, even in the heat of passion. You are allowed to protect your future, even if it means disappointing someone in the moment. The man who can say no today is the man who will still have the freedom to say yes to the right woman tomorrow. That is not just discipline, that is power.